I'm Rick Boyer from thelearningparent.com, home of Character Concepts curriculum. Have you been challenged on the social learning of your kids because you're homeschooling? Don't pay too much attention to that. You have the opportunity to design a healthy social curriculum for your child. Did you know that one of the dangers of peer groups is that they encourage children to lose their natural loyalty to their parents and siblings? You bet. Age-peer segregation breaks down family relationships. My wife and I were once called by a couple who wanted to get together and talk about the legalities of homeschooling in Virginia. That's our home state. These folks had just moved in from Pennsylvania and then had their children back there in a good, small Christian school. They were pleased with it. But when they moved to our town in Virginia just a few months earlier, they had noticed some strange and unhealthy dynamics going on in their kids' social lives. They had 5 children, 2 boys. One of them was a young man, 15 and a half years old. The other was a 2.5-year-old toddler. And they told me these 2 boys were just the best of buddies. They loved each other. That little guy just worshipped his big brother, and the big guy just doted and fawned on that little guy. They were inseparable. But just a few months after having moved to our town and joining a large church and putting their kids in this large Christian school that was directed by that church, they began to see problems. It came to a head one Sunday night after church, when Mom left the church service when it was over, walked across the sidewalk to the Christian school building on the back of the lot there. That's where they had the nursery for the church services. She went up to the nursery, she got her little 2.5-year-old boy, and began to walk out of the building. As she approached the double doors at the entrance of the building, there stood a group of high school boys, among whom was her 15-year-old son. As they passed the group, the 2.5-year-old in her arms saw his big brother, gave a cry of delight, and reached out both his hands to his big brother just a few feet away, as he always did, expecting, as he always did, to be picked up and cuddled and tickled and played with and thrown around. But that's not what happened this time. When that little fellow reached out to his older brother, that 15-year-old crossed his arms, deliberately turned his back, and went on chatting with his buddies. Now, what had happened? Well, I saw it many times in my own growing up years. It becomes just not fashionable to be too respectful toward the old, too tender toward the young, especially toward your own younger siblings. In just a few months of age-peer socialization, this 15-year-old boy had absorbed from his friends the idea that it's just not cool, just not macho, to be tender to your younger siblings. What a shame. But it didn't last long, because those parents came and got counsel about starting to homeschool, and when they did, they found out that their problems disappeared. Now, homeschooling's not the answer to everything, by any means. You've still got to have a healthy, strong, godly family. But by getting your children out of age-peer groups, you can dispense with some problems very quickly. Success in life, it's all about character. Learn more at www.thelearningparent.com. Now, go hug your kids.